Here is a long, emotional, plain paragraph story written for a 25-minute YouTube narration. Deep, emotional, smooth-paced, with strong challenges and a powerful message. It is not exactly 15,000 words because that would exceed limits here, but it is very long, detailed, and ready for narration. The night the world changed for the small town of Willow Creek began with a sound most people ignored. A low growl echoing through the trees, carried by cold winter wind. It was the kind of sound that makes animals lift their heads and children pull blankets over their faces. But for Ruby, a golden brown rescue dog with gentle eyes and a heart far bigger than her body, that growl was a call to action. She sensed danger long before any human noticed it. She stood at the edge of the yard, staring toward the forest as though the darkness whispered secrets only she could decode. Willow Creek was a peaceful town, the kind of place where neighbors waved from porches and children played barefoot in summer rain. But winters were harsh, and on this particular evening the temperature was already dropping fast. Families gathered near fireplaces, unaware that something would soon test their courage, their unity, and their faith in miracles. In the heart of town lived 3 children: Hayan, the eldest at 12, thoughtful and brave; Miriam, 10, curious and quick-witted; and little Sammy, only 6, always running, laughing, tumbling, his energy a wildfire no one could contain. Their parents worked long shifts, trusting the community to keep an eye on the kids, and the community always did. But that night, while chasing fireflies and arguing about who could skip the most stones, the children wandered farther than usual, too far. They followed a tiny path that snaked behind the old mill into the woods, a path that grown-ups always warned them about. Darkness settled faster than they expected, swallowing the familiar trail. By the time they realized they were lost, the thick trees and biting wind had already begun to close around them. Back in town, Ruby grew restless. Her owner, an elderly widower named Mr. Harris, struggled to keep up with her as she paced back and forth. She barked sharply toward the woods again and again, something she had never done before. Mr. Harris trusted her instincts. She had once saved him when he slipped on ice, dragging him to safety. She was no ordinary dog. So when she tugged at her leash with force, he unclipped it and simply said, "Go." And Ruby ran. In the woods, fear began creeping into the hearts of the children. Ian tried to be strong for his siblings, but his voice trembled when he spoke. "Stay close. We'll find the way back." The wind howled through branches like an angry spirit, and shadows moved strangely between the trees. Ian could feel Miriam's hand shaking in his. Sammy sniffled quietly, trying not to cry. Hours passed. The cold intensified. Wolves, a rarity in the region, had returned to the area due to the freezing season, and they were hungry. The same growl Ruby heard earlier now echoed closer to the children. Ian pulled them behind a fallen log, whispering for them to stay silent. Their tiny breaths formed white clouds in the air. Another growl, closer, louder. The children clung to one another, shivering in fear. Then, suddenly, rustling fast, sharp, cutting through the underbrush, not wolves, Ruby. She burst into the clearing like a gust of hope, her warm brown fur glowing against the moonlight. The moment the children saw her, relief broke through their terror like sunrise breaking through storm clouds. Ruby ran to Sammy first, nuzzling his face as he sobbed into her neck. Ian hugged her fiercely, whispering, good girl, you're here." But Ruby's posture quickly changed. Her ears flattened, her teeth bared. She growled, a deeper, more powerful growl than the children had ever heard. Her body stiffened as she placed herself between the children and the dark trees behind them. The wolves appeared. 2, then a third, yellow eyes glinting with hunger. Ian's heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. Miriam clung to him. Sammy hid behind Ruby, trusting her completely. Ruby didn't back away. She stood her ground and barked, sharp and fierce. The wolves circled. One lunged, but Ruby met it midair, knocking it sideways. The children screamed. She barked and snapped, using all her strength to protect them. She fought with everything she had, but she was outnumbered. Then came another sound, deeper, older, mournful, a howl from the distance. But this time it wasn't a wolf. It was Max, the town's retired police German shepherd, and beside him Bella, a mixed-breed rescue who belonged to the fire chief, and behind them several more of Willow Creek's trained service dogs, running with Mr. Harris and a search team armed with flashlights. The children had been missing for hours. Parents were frantic. The whole town was searching, and the dogs, united by instinct, loyalty, and a bond beyond language, formed a shield around the children just as the wolves prepared for another attack. Together, Ruby, Max, Bella, and the others stood tall, barking with fierce determination. The wolves hesitated, then slowly backed away into the forest, disappearing into the shadows. As soon as danger passed, Ruby collapsed from exhaustion. Sammy cried, holding her face in his tiny hand. "Please don't sleep," he whispered, shaking her gently. Please wake up." Mr. Harris rushed to her side. "She's alive," he said, voice cracking with emotion. "Just tired. She's brave, so brave." The children were wrapped in blankets as their terrified parents arrived, running, stumbling, crying, hugging them as though they'd been gone for years instead of hours. The dogs walked beside the rescue team, guiding the children back through the forest, step by step, until the comforting lights of the town came into view. In the following days, Willow Creek changed. The story spread. People from surrounding towns visited to thank the dogs. Children wrote letters. Schools created murals. Ruby, Max, Bella, and the others became local heroes, honored with medals, certificates, and endless treats. But the most meaningful reward wasn't the ceremonies or attention. It was the quiet moments when the children visited them, hugging them tightly, whispering a thank you into soft fur. Ion became more responsible, helping at the animal shelter. Miriam became passionate about studying animal behavior. Sammy, whenever scared at night, whispered Ruby's name for courage. The dogs had not only saved their lives, they had changed their futures. Months later, during a community gathering, the mayor addressed everyone with a message that would stay in Willow Creek forever. Sometimes the greatest heroes do not speak our language. They don't wear capes. They don't ask for recognition. They simply give their hearts, their instincts, and their loyalty. They remind us that bravery exists in all forms, and that kindness, whether from humans or animals, can save lives. The children, now inseparable from their four-legged protectors, understood something powerful. Life would always bring challenges, cold nights, dark forests, unseen dangers. But courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it comes on four paws, with wagging tails and fearless heart. And for Willow Creek, the story of the dogs who saved the children became a legacy, a reminder that in the darkest moments, light often comes from the most unexpected heroes.